Pep Talk UK, Pro Beez once again. Remember, subscribe. And I'm delighted to be joined by the trainer of Callum Smith, Joe Gallagher. How you doing?
Yes, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. I think it's fitting to say, Arriba!
Yes, loving the hat, loving it, son. We're all going on Viva la Loca. Do you know what I mean? It's just brilliant. It's just what great news late last night, and it's been received well today, and we're all excited. Although I think we get on a plane 3 weeks on Friday, something like that. It's not the biggest notice, but full credit to Callum Smith and Canelo. Both fighters, both willing to go against each other. Obviously, I'm sure Canelo knew weeks ago who he was fighting, but for Callum to decide to go, Joe, what? Bollocks, come on then, let's have it. Full credit to him, where a lot of people go, oh, what a 10-week camp. Do you think Tyson Fury, Joshua would fight each other at 3 weeks' notice or whatever? Do you know what I mean? It's, I just think it's great. The little thing they're disappointed about is that they're not going to have the 10-week build-up. You're not going to have the crowds. You're not going to have the big press conferences and everything else. But apart from that, like you say, it's a chance for Callum, the #1 super middleweight in the world, going against the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And what a fantastic fight it's got to be, and what a way to end the year.
I think it's fitting that, you know, we are catching up just after the fight's been made, because I remember months ago I said to you, I'm hearing you told me, sorry, that the fight was at the amber stage, and that has been the longest traffic light at the amber stage that I've ever witnessed, mate.
It's one of them temporary roadwork ones where you're there, you don't know whether to just shoot past it or not. It's been there for ages. But when I say over the weekend and the last week or two, I've been inundated from journalists and from people close in the game saying, I believe you've got the fight, congratulations. And I think someone put something out, it might have been Eddie Earn or whatever, a few last week, and I put fake news, because what was fake news? There was no fight.
Okay.
And the fight got made and the deal done, most of it, an hour before Canelo announced it last night. So we were still going through contracts at 7, 8 o'clock last night. So when people were saying last week it was done, it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? And that's how to the wire it went last night.
What I've noticed with Canelo is when he's ready to fight, he usually fights, and there's some boxing fans that are saying that he's giving you guys a month's notice again to get ready. What I mean by that is other fighters as well have had a month's preparation as well. Is that in some way going to hinder you in the fight?
I think I've seen Benavidez giving Canelo stick for it as well. But what we've got to understand, we're not in normal times in life at the moment. We're in a pandemic, and Canelo now is the Mayweather. Mayweather was always the same. He was always dangling the carrot for Amir Khan. Is it Khan or Madonna or Khan versus? Do you understand that they're always dangling the carrot? So we now have got to make the most of it. There's no point crying about it. We've took the fight. We've now got to try and arrange sparring partners. Now you've got to remember we're in a lockdown, so that's hard to get. Then we've also got to look at hotels and accommodation for sparring partners. We've got to make the most of a bad job, really. But where we've got to sit and go, no, we can't get sparring partners. No, we haven't got enough notice, and lose that opportunity. Cam Smith just wants to fight the best. That's all he's ever done. And that's why I keep saying full credit to him. But we've got to try and do the best that we can do. He's always in the gym to an extent that he's ticking over. He's not, I've always been, from the era that I came from, where Champs Camp, at the time we always had Morris Court, Tony Akubia, Ensley Bingham, Carl Thompson, Frank Grant. They were in the gym all year long, just like Pat Barrett and then were in Manchester. That was the old school fighters. I mean, this new era of blowing up in weight and all that's gone, but I've always tried to keep mine in the gym. Your Quiggs, your Crawlers, Beefy was in sparring today. Natasha Jonas was sparring today. So always keeping in, ticking over. And Callum Smith has been, but now 4 weeks out, it's time to put the foot to the floor in these 3 weeks. And I've been in against, up against Canelo with Liam Smith. We have an idea. We have an idea of a Canelo fight week, what it's all about, the tricks to pull. So it's about putting the jigsaw together now in these 3 week sparring sessions. 3 weeks of sparring now. It's putting the jigsaw pieces together to make sure we're right on the night. And this is, like I said to you, Canelo most probably picked Callum 8-10 weeks ago, but he wasn't going to give us the notice. And that's what I'm saying. It's a shame we don't have that, but we're not going to cry about it. We've just got to get on with it and do it, and it'll make the victory much more sweeter.
You know, someone was saying to me earlier that this could be revenge for Callum Smith, you know, for that defeat that Liam suffered. And I'm like, I just clocked on that they did fight a few years back. And I'm like, okay, maybe the card could be entitled Revenge, you know?
I think Callum's on mission. Callum got revenge for Paul by beating George Groves, and now he's going after Canelo for beef. He spent his career doing it, couldn't he? But he's no, it could do. It's a great fight, and Canelo had to deliver. We were all thinking at the time yesterday when he was announcing it. We were all speaking yesterday. We were thinking, oh, is it got to be Yildirim? Is it got to be Plant? Is Eubank in with it? Do you understand? And he must have had 4 of us all dangling until the last hour. But that's the power of when you are the size and of how he is.
And you mentioned, even though it's short notice, you know, you said your fighters, you encourage them to stay in the gym all year round and keep ticking over. But this is what it's about. You know, if you want to be the best, you know, you should really be living by that lifestyle anyway, right?
Yeah, definitely. Now, I understand you can't spar hard every year, and every day of every week of every year, or train hard, but you can be in the gym working on things, even if you're just going in the gym and doing skipping and shadow boxing and doing 4 bag, but just ticking over, doing some pads. And if there's any sparring about, I'll jump in for 4 rounds, and just keeping your eye in. And when you're in that environment and you have no pressure, I call it freestyle sparring. You're sparring, but you're sparring freestyle. You're doing what you want to do. You're not sparring now with conditions on you where you're fighting and sparring to a game plan to perfect shots, to perfect movement. You can try things when you're not in when you're in the gym. When you haven't got a day, I'll try southpaw, I'll try this shot, and you just work and you're working. Young prospects coming through are always in the gym, well, used to be. It's when they get to a certain level, they go, I'm not coming in the gym till I've got a day. Well, how if you're fighting twice a year or 3 times a year and 10 weeks camps, 30 weeks, what are you doing for the other 22 weeks? You and me are in a job, or anyone else, you're in a job 52 weeks of the year. You get 4 weeks holiday.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? And then you wonder about you getting injuries and your body's soft, and it's you got to be dedicated. It's no big massive clue or thing. You just look across at the fighters who have longevity in their careers. That look at Mayweather, look at Hopkins. Do you know what I mean? They just look after themselves. They're in the gym, they're training, they're fighting. You go through all their records, they're always fighting as well. And even if it's against a half decent opponent, but they're there ticking over, keeping the tools sharp. But then again, I think TV's changed when all of a sudden now fighters are becoming twice a year. Anthony Joshua isn't a twice a year fighter. You look at Anthony Joshua, twice a year fighter, and you just look at other fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Jack Johnson, fighting every 2 months, every month. It's, you've got to keep fighting. I think there's too much on commercial, and we have to sell it, and I think it doesn't improve them the way that it should do.
In some ways, I know Callum Smith wasn't at his optimal best against John Ryder. You know, a lot of the guys in the boxing forums are saying that. However, I was saying to someone the other day, well, surely sometimes that's a good thing in boxing, because if you look too good, then you don't get the fights. So sometimes it's good to have a mix. You know, you have some performances that are, you know, the top-notch performances, and you have some where you're not quite functioning at your top level.
No, exactly. Sometimes it needs a bad performance to get the big fight, because everyone's sitting and waiting to see a chink in the armour. Now, Canelo only mentioned Callum once, and that was before Callum beat Hassan Nadam in New York, and then nothing was mentioned. But then after the John Ryder fight came the Canelo talk. Thought, all right, he's seen something there. And they think the Callum that fought Ryder turns up. They're gravely mistaken. Callum Smith in the big fights, the pressure environment, back against the wall, performs. Rocky Fielding, British title, 1 round. European title against a kid that just lost on points to James DeGale, 1 round. Then he goes and fights George Groves, 7 rounds. Hassan Nadam just beat Martin Murray, 3 rounds. John Ryder, whether he was up for it or took his eye off or didn't treat him, might have looked at him and thought, well, he's eating. Well, there's no fear factor. There'll be fear factor for Canelo. And you watch Callum Smith perform now.
I know Callum Smith can bang because I'll give you a little bit of insight. Like 4 years ago, I was in Manchester. There was a fight. I can't remember who was fighting that night, but Callum was fighting Luke Blackledge.
Yes.
That night. And it was a very strong knockout, a very, very big knockout. I think it was that night. And I saw Blackledge in the bar at the Hilton after, and I saw what Callum Smith had done to him. And that night I said, wow, this Callum Smith is a real bad motherfucker. That's what I said that night, because Luke Blackledge he wasn't in a great way. You know, he was at the bar and he was socializing, but that night I said, this Callum Smith can really bang.
Yeah.
So I think, you know,
he can bang, but he can box well. He's got good amateur pedigree. He can box long. He can fight short. And when we beat George Groves, I was so happy but gutted because he never managed to show everything that he can do. And everyone close to us knows, and hopefully this is a fight where everyone's got to go, wow, fucking, we're so excited for this. We really can't wait for it. And like you say, it's 4 weeks. But I think Callum's got his 30-day check weight tomorrow or the next day after. That shows you how close we are to the fight. No, but we're really looking forward to it. And to come back to the UK with that pound-for-pound title, that'll be something else. That to beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter.
I know Callum Smith's got a very good jab. You know, I've been watching it for years and saying, well, for a big man, the way he moves with the jab is excellent. On the night against Canelo, that jab is going to have to be 100% on point, because I think we know Canelo is a fearsome body puncher, and he'll be trying to close that distance, you know, with a taller fighter in Callum Smith.
Yeah, well, Canelo also boxes to a rhythm. He gets you boxing into his pace and his rhythm. He accelerates it when he wants to accelerate it. Then when you want to accelerate, he pulls the blanket over you, calms you down, and gets you walking around, following him and everything else. The next thing you know, bang, he's in, bang, 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 and then he's gone. You've got to dictate the pace with Canelo and watch his rhythm and in his feet and play the game. And we're working so intently and studying and revising, and he'll be watching. And Callum Smith is, as you said, the jab's got to be key, but it's got to be the right jab at the right time. We can't just go in there, start throwing, going jab happy, because Canelo feeds off jabs. It's slip inside, slip outside. We've got to be the right jab at the right time, in the right position in the ring.
It's been a year out the ring for both fighters, ironically.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a factor for Callum?
As much as a factor it is for Canelo. I think Canelo was in training for Billy Joe. He's been sparring then, tough sparring, and he's been sparring a lot heavier beforehand, both at the same age. And no, listen, it is what it is. I'm not going to tolerate that a little bit. It's you're out, you're out. We're all in the same boat. Let's just go and do it. You know, if it was Callum Johnson, I'd go, yeah, he's been out nearly 2 years. That'd be a bit of a problem, but it is what it is. It's all there. It's up there. If you want to hang on that and listen to that and think about that and let it get inside your head, well, that's down to you. Or you can just go, yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
We saw with Fury in the first fight against Wilder. You know, he got himself back fit and he went kind of straight in there at the top level.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what's going to happen come December the 19th out somewhere in the States, Joe? Tell us. Yeah,
well, wherever it's got to be, whether it be in Dallas, Texas, or Las Vegas, that's still to be decided yet, the venue. But it's going to be good if it was in Dallas or Texas. They're having crowds in now. I think there's like 25,000 in for Spence Garcia. So I think maybe that Callum a couple of weeks later they could get 30,000 in, but around them figures. So there will be a crowd, and that's doesn't sound a lot when you're fighting in an 80,000 stadium, but that's a sold out O2, a sold out arena. But there's still an opportunity. I think the logistics of travelling and visas, and we've got all that stuff to go through. But on fight night, I think it's got to be a good fight, a spectacular fight. And yeah, I do feel this is a fight that's built up that won't let the fans down. All the boxing, you know, it'll put boxing in a good light again. And in the same way we watch your Canelo Triple G fights, good fights, can't split them, got the boxing attention. I think this is what this fight will do.
You feel like you have to do a little bit extra more because this is Canelo, and to get a decision away from home.
100%.
Wow.
100%. I'm hoping we have some type of officials from Britain involved in it. I hope the British Boxing Board of Control are out with a strong presence, and there's officials of some sort, where it's a referee or a judge. But I understand in America, it's very much what goes on in what state, it's down to them. But I would like that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, Joe. I know you've got plenty of other media to catch up with. Thanks for your time, man. Congratulations on the Canelo fight.
Thanks for the support as always.
December the 19th.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Sound. Thank you. I'll speak to you before we go.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks a lot, mate.